Hi everyone. Today what we are going to do is we are going to talk about how to write a lead. So this is probably a term you've never heard before, and that's okay. A lead is the very beginning of a story. So you have probably heard the word hook before. You know that first sentence when you write a paper and you have to really hook your readers, grab them and make them interested. Okay? We call it a lead. It's the beginning of your story. You're leading off what your story is about. Um, and this is how we write one. So if we look on the screen, this is a pyramid, okay? So the format that we actually use for writing journalism stories is called an inverted pyramid style. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of an inverted pyramid, but that means we're going to take the pyramid and we're going to flip it upside down, okay? So it looks like this now. So an inverted pyramid is a pyramid that's upside down, the point is facing down, and it gives us this really big base on top. The reason that we use this shape to explain how we write stories is because we start really broad and we get narrower as we write. So the beginning of the story, the lead, is the widest part, which means it's covering the most information. Okay, so we're going to start and we have to answer the 5 W's to explain what's going on in the story in those very first sentences. So it's who, what, where, when, and then why or how. So that's really broad. It's all kinds of information. And then as you get going, you narrow your focus more and more. And the reason they actually did this is because in the past, before things were digitalized, if they would write a story and then if they found out the story was too long, they could just chop off the bottom of the story and it wouldn't affect the outcome because all the most important information was already given to you. Okay, but we'll get into more of that later. We want to start just with the very beginning, that wide branch of a story. So like I said, a lead is 1 to 2 sentences and it answers the most important information about the story. If a reader can only read your first 2 sentences, they should know what is going on. So it'll answer who the story is about, what is happening, where it's happening, when it's happening, and why it's happening. It can only be 1 to 2 sentences. That's really important. You need to choose your words wisely to write in a very straightforward manner. So let's look at an example of a lead. So first I'm just going to read it out loud to you. 8th grader Tori Jackson returned to Lane Middle School on Monday, September 7th, after being quarantined from a COVID exposure. Jackson had to stay home for 14 days because her sister tested positive for the virus. Okay, we're going to go through and identify, first of all, who is the who of the story? Who is the story about? It is 8th grader Tori Jackson. Okay, so 8th grader Tori Jackson is who we're talking about. Now, what is happening in the story? Tori returned to school, right? Where is this happening? So where did she return to school? What school did she go to? It's Lane. Okay, so Lane Middle School. Then we need to figure out when did she go back to school? It was Monday, September 7th. And then why was she missing in the first place? She had to be quarantined because of a COVID exposure. Okay, so our very first sentence, we answer all 5 of these questions. And if we remember back from the example, that whole first paragraph, we give more detail about how she got COVID, okay, because her sister got exposed. And so because her sister got sick, she had to stay home for those 14 days too. So that's how we read through a lead and we identify those 5 W's. And then sometimes you can also identify the how if you have more information. I want to show you one more example. Schools in Fort Wayne closed Friday evening after too many students and faculty tested positive for COVID. Okay. What you might notice now is that you don't see a person's name, and that's okay. Sometimes the subject of our lead in our story is not a specific person. In this case, the who is actually the schools. Okay, so the school is the main subject. What did the schools do? They closed. Where are they located? In Fort Wayne. When did they close? On Friday evening. And why did they close? Too many students and faculty tested positive for COVID. Okay. So if we look back at this example, we have a person, and if we look at our new example, we actually have a group is the subject. So here's what you guys are going to do. You are going to leave this video, go back to the Google Doc or the Google slide. You are going to be given an example, and you're going to do what I just did. Find the 5 W's in that lead. Identify the who, what, where, when, and why of a lead.
Calendar